Welcome, Wareham, to the Conservation Commission meeting of March 5th, 2025. The Wareham Conservation Commission will hold a meeting under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the General Laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, the Town of Wareham Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Division 6, and any other applicable laws. All hearings of the Wareham Conservation Commission are held simultaneously under the authorities of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act and the Town of Wareham Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Division 6. Although a single decision of the commission is issued, it represents a separate decision under each authority. All matters listed may involve a decision and possible vote. Call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Scott Sobey.
Autumn Wood.
Sandy Slavin.
Kwame Body.
Joseph Still.
I declare a quorum, and Christine, please. I swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth on all hearings before me.
I do.
Thank you very much. All right, we're ready to go. 6 o'clock, first hearing, please.
Notice of public hearing. Pursuant to the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw, Division 6. A public hearing will be held in room 520 of the Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass., on Wednesday, March 5th, 2025 at 6 p.m. On the request for determination of applicability for Thomas Stanton, 149 Cremisa Road, Wareham, Mass., 02571. Addition of approximately 600 square foot deck, map 54, lot 29, 149 Cremisa Road, Wareham, Mass. I motion to open the hearing.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, we're 400. Anybody here for this project, please come forward and identify yourself.
Thomas Stanton.
Please raise your right hand. I swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth on this article, on this hearing for 149 Cremisa Road.
I do.
Thank you. Be seated and talk to us about what you want to do.
Wanted to put on addition to a deck.
And it's all staked out,
Correct.
and you started before you had approval,
No carpentry, but yes, I started digging holes.
dug in holes. But I'm going to ask for questions. I will start with Joseph.
Can you come back to me?
Kwame,
Yes, it was staked. Now, on the plans, how large is the area that you're trying to go into? Because it doesn't really depict. How large is the area?
That I'm going.
what are the dimensions
Yes.
of the deck,
The deck? The deck is
or the patio, the deck?
it's approximately 600 feet. It's 16 feet out.
Yep.
The width of the house.
Yeah, because I was trying to look at that on the plans and when I stopped over there. Okay, that's the only question I had right now. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Autumn,
No questions, thank you.
Scott,
When I visited this afternoon, you told me you have a building permit for that, for the deck, is that right?
Online, what I checked out, it appears that it went through the building department, it went through the assessor's office, and I was waiting for the request for determination, which is why I started digging the holes, because I presumed that it had gone through the building department.
I didn't see a notice posted today.
I haven't got it yet,
Okay,
no.
so you don't actually have a building permit yet?
Right.
Okay. No further questions, thanks.
I have none. Christine, any comment?
No questions, no.
Anybody here or online that would like to have comment on this project? I'm seeing none. Joe?
No, no questions for me.
Yes, I came back to you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
All right, nobody online, nobody in the audience.
I motion to close the hearing.
Second.
I have a motion to close the hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 400. The hearing is closed. Christine, your recommendation.
-3, -6, to use erosion controls so that none of that sediment leaches into any of the surrounding areas, and with a $200 fine for starting work without the permit.
That's the recommendation.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstain. We're 400. You got approval. Don't finish any more until you get approval from the conservation in writing. Okay? Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
It'll be done by tomorrow.
Next one, please.
On the request for notice of intent for Mike Leone, 67 Jefferson Shores Road, Wareham, Mass. Remove dead trees and replace with new plantings to stabilize bank. Map 6, Lot 50B, Lot 5073305, 67 Jefferson Shores Road, Wareham, Massachusetts. I motion to open the hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstain. The hearing is open. Anybody here representing this project, please come forward and identify yourself.
Good evening. My name's Kevin McCarthy. I'm here to represent my customer. I own Triple Crown Tree Service out of Sandwich, Mass.
McCarthy?
Yes, ma'am.
Kevin, I swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth regarding the project at 67 Jefferson Shore Road.
I do.
Please have a seat and talk to us about this project.
Thank you. So my client just recently purchased a house, I would say a year or so ago, and the previous owner decapitated all of the trees that were once healthy trees and turned them into very unhealthy stumps or whatever you want. You know what I mean? It's covered with vines. The few trees are starting to uproot. So our goal here is to stabilize the bank. It's not going to last with what is there, in my opinion. I'm an ISA certified arborist, ISA number NE7671A. So our goal is to remove the stumps or whatever you want to call them, flush cut them, and go in and really replant that bank to stabilize it and make it a secure place that's going to last for multiple years to come.
Okay. Joe, want me to start with you?
To what ratio do you think between the recently cut plantings and to the ones you're proposing now? Do you know what the ratio you'd be proposing?
We provided a plan, I don't have, but I believe it's,
You guys have a lot of plantings. Inkberry, common juniper, northern bayberry, switchgrass, lowbush blueberry, and arrowwood viburnum. There's 20, 15, 15, 20, 20, and 15. So there's over 100 plantings.
So there's
Okay, so
100
there was a big significant of
yeah, there's more
previous.
plantings than tree. I think there's maybe 6 or 7 stems of trees, whatever you want to call them. And there's over 100 plantings we're putting in.
Okay. All right, that's my only question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kwame?
No, I was just going to say the stabilization is very important. So I think, we should definitely approve that. That's it.
Autumn?
Do you have a plan for monitoring the success rate of these plantings?
Yes, I'm going to be monitoring them myself. It's going to be a fee-based, you know what I mean? A fee-based thing where I'm going to go check on them. Whatever dies is going to be replanted, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The homeowner here is really trying to keep his investment safe because we know so many trees, so many houses are starting to cave in. It's more of keeping his investment safe in the house.
Yeah, and absolutely the natural approach.
Yeah, I mean,
is something we like to see.
yeah, it's a lot easier, I think.
Perfect, thank you.
Scott?
What is the slope? An average slope. So I went down the stairs today, and it's pretty steep on both sides. Do you know what the slope is?
I do not, Scott, I apologize.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of areas where I guess, what you meant, small trees that are cut right down to the crown, I guess.
Yeah,
And your plan is to cut those all out?
we want to flush cut them so we can plant around them to allow them to thrive and get all the vines and nasty growth out of there, so we can put fresh new plants in, which will stabilize the bank for the long term.
Right, and is the bank already planted with grass of some kind?
No, it is not.
I'm wondering what it was that I saw that was,
There is, it's not, it's just growing there.
It's growing, yeah, it's not, I don't think it
There
was,
is material growing there.
yeah.
yeah, but I don't think it was planted grass. I
No,
think
it
it's
was
just.
never-
No, sorry if I misunderstood the question. I thought you meant planted grass. No, it's
It's weeds,
weeds, yeah.
Well,
unwanted.
I learned from this commission that a Cape Cod lawn is a group of weeds that you mow periodically.
Well put.
I forget what question I was going to ask.
That was a good one.
Yeah, so those roots that are remaining after you do the flush cut, those are going to help sustain the bank structure until the other plants are stabilized, is that right?
That's our goal, yes.
Right, I also, the prospectus here said that you're going to remove 2 dead trees. I didn't see any marked trees.
2 dead trees?
Yeah, it says that to remove, isn't that right? That they're going to remove 2 dead trees?
There were,
There's flush cutting of 4 dead
there was
trees.
4 of them on the plan. They were up against the north side of the property, but not marked.
I apologize, I didn't, this is my first time doing one of these.
Okay, yeah,
I have-
it's really useful for us to have, red ribbon or something around a tree that's intended for removal. Sometimes it's hard to relate the plans to the site, which is why we go do a site visit in the first place.
I apologize, sir.
That's okay if you didn't know. It's all
Yeah,
right.
this is my first.
That's all right. Yeah, so I was wondering which ones of those. And then the plants that you plan to put in, are they all drawn from the native plant list that are maintained by the town?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you said there are over 100 of those?
I believe
Yeah,
significantly over
it's either
100.
105 or 115.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to relate the idea of a coastal bank being a resource area, which is by itself a no-activity zone, to all of this planting. And, but I guess if it's done in a carefully regulated way, it'll help the situation rather than hurt, so.
Yes, sir, and I'll be planting everything myself with my crew, you know what I mean? It's all gonna be done by me. And being an ISA certified arborist, I know all the practices, and we're gonna take those all into consideration. Everything's gonna be done by hand. There's gonna be no use of any sort of equipment. All of our tools will be stabilized before and cleaned, so we're not bringing anything into the embankment that wasn't already there.
I just have one final question, and you can hold me to that, Madam Chair. We've seen sometimes that people will plant trees, and then they find that they're in the view between their house and the thing that they want to look at, and so they end up, I'll say kindly, pruning those trees. Are you planting things that will not be interfering with their view at some point?
I mean, if you see their view, I think it's gonna take I'll be long gone for this time before I think anything that's planted down there is gonna affect their view. They're so highly elevated on that cliff. We're just focusing on stabilizing that bank so his house doesn't end up
So mostly shrubs and
shrubs.
forbs and things like that?
Yeah.
None
Yeah.
of these plants have any height to them.
No.
Okay.
They
No.
tend to spread more than they go high.
Great,
I
thank you.
think that's gonna stabilize that bank.
No further questions?
Were you aware that the previous owner sued the town of Wareham regarding what he had done on the banking that we hadn't approved?
I had no
There is an existing order of conditions on this site. Would it, Christine, would it roll over to this new owner? Because he was fined heavily for cutting all the trees on the bank. He cleared, if you take a look to the right side of the garage, he dug down into somebody else's property and was forced to redo that walkway around the garage of this property.
Yeah, I was unaware.
This was a big problem for conservation when we saw what had been done. And he really did a nasty job on the vegetation on that banking. So I don't know whether or not the order of conditions rolls over with the house regardless of owner or not.
That is something I'm also not sure of. I'll have to check that out and get back to you on it.
Okay, but we're here to talk about this project. How are you going to, so you're going to level out the short 6-inch stubs that are there, trunks
Yes,
that are there, and just cut them flush to the soil?
I'm actually gonna leave a little bit. My goal is to leave them about 2 to 3 inches above
the
the.
way they are?
But not the same way. They're definitely gonna be a little bit lower so we can get the sunlight and get the vines out of there. But I wanna leave them about 2 to 3 inches above grade. That way, in case they do, it gives them longer time to decompose and allows the bank to stay stable longer.
Now, the trees that you're talking of the trees to be removed are the ones that are multi-branched? Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah,
There's-
the ones
there's
that he just.
2 or 3 coming out of the same trunk?
Exactly, the
Okay.
guy that just where he topped him off and you can see the water sprouts or whatever is trying to,
No, these are bigger trees.
oh, the maple trees?
Yeah,
That on the left-hand side,
yes,
that are uprooting?
yeah.
Yes,
Those are two of the 4 trees
yes,
that you
the
plan to remove.
maple trees.
Yeah.
The weight on those ones, it looks like it's lifting up the whole roots.
Yes.
And if we lose that stem or that root base on that,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's gonna cause that whole tree to, you know what I mean, that whole embankment, I think.
Because I couldn't tell if they were dead this time of the year, just that I could tell that they were multi-branches coming from the same trunk.
Yeah, multi-liter. It looks like at some point in life, someone did cut those when they probably weren't supposed to cut those.
And the
And they're
maples-
re-sprouted like they
tend to-
do.
They tend to do that.
Yeah, so it looks like someone cut those at some point. And our big concern, if that root ball pulls out on that hill,
Mm-hmm.
there goes that whole left side of that hill.
Now, you talked about jute matting, erosion control. How are you going to, you're going to clear out the invasives, right? Remove the brush and, so all the little trees, are you removing them too, or just for the big ones?
The little ones is, we're gonna try to peel, you know what I mean, peel the vines off. If there's anything to them, we're gonna leave them. If there's nothing to them,
Yeah.
we're gonna take, it's so hard to tell what's what with all the invasives growing on it right now.
Yeah.
Like I said, our goal is to stabilize that bank. His view is as good as it's ever gonna get. You know what I mean? Nothing we do is gonna add to that view.
Because the previous owner cut down all the trees.
Yeah.
But the 2 to 3 inch ones that are there, you can see they've all been topped at one time or another, because you can see where they were cut off.
I don't even think I'd call that topping. I think that'd be cutting it in half. I think
Well-
that would be,
You can see where they were.
yes. And you can see they're all starting to deteriorate,
Yep.
erode. So we're hoping to put nice, healthy plants that are gonna survive a long time and keep that place safe.
Are you comfortable that you can put enough jute matting down to prevent the hill from eroding once you've dug it up and put new plants there?
Yes, ma'am. Our customer's willing to, you know what I mean? He invested a lot in that house, as you could see, he just put it in. He's willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that hill and that embankment stays a natural, safe place to be.
How are you going to plant with such a steep slope?
It's not gonna be a fun, it's not gonna be,
Put ropes on everybody so they don't fall down?
it's not gonna be a fun day.
Will you be putting them on tiers, or?
No, ma'am, we wanna try to, I don't wanna excavate any soil as much as possible. What we will do is just tie into the top if we need to. There's a pine tree to stabilize ourselves on. Harnesses like we're gonna climb a tree. I'm trying to disturb it. I don't wanna tier anything. I wanna keep the soil movement to a bare minimum, you know what I mean?
You start at the bottom and move to the
Work,
top?
work our way up.
Okay. Christine, your comments?
You've actually answered most of my questions. With any erosion controls going on at the bottom of the slope, would you be amenable to putting something in down there while the plants stabilize?
Of course, yes.
All right. That's all.
I just have one,
You promised.
Here we go.
this is not a question.
God, you promised me here.
This is not a question.
Sorry. Yes.
So this is for Christine, really. It's been a while since I've read the Wetland Protection Act, and I'm not an attorney, but I believe there's a clause in there that if there's a transfer of property, while the property is under violation for some act, that there's provision for up to a $20,000 fine. So, yeah, you might want to look at that. I can probably find it pretty quickly, but you might want to look back at the actual Wetland Protection Act, not just the bylaws, and see, maybe just do a search for $20,000. I think you'll find it very quickly.
Jeez.
But I'm honestly trying to think if this was 2 to 3 years ago. And I don't think anybody was on the board at the time. Were you? Do you remember this one? It was a house that really has been totally rebuilt and a garage added and a patio put in, and maybe 4 years ago. I can't remember, but yes, this was when I turned
Pre-COVID?
around the corner and I said, oh, word, that house again. So, yes, it was, we don't get sued often for denying a project. But town won. They had to do the work. All right. Anybody online or in the audience would like to talk about this particular project? All right,
I motion to close the hearing.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to close the hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 400. The hearing is closed. Christine, your recommendation.
Standard order of conditions with some erosion controls at the bottom while those plants stabilize, and the periodic checking of them to make sure that any that are dying or are not viable are replanted.
Can do 3 years monitoring, or
It's usually 2 growing seasons.
2 growing seasons
Yeah.
for monitoring, if you could include that in them?
Yep.
Okay, 2 years.
My other question is, do we need the viability monitoring to be reported to our conservation agent?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to do that.
Thank you.
Monitoring report's good. And I'll look into the other order of conditions, because from what I can see on here, I don't know if there's anything that hasn't been scanned digitally. There is a COC in here online, but I am
It
not
wouldn't have
sure.
been digital. This was pre-digital.
I'll
So I'm thinking maybe 3 to 4 years ago.
I'll check the papers downstairs.
The only thing I remember is here. Okay,
All right, I motion to approve with the standard order conditions with erosion controls to be placed at the bottom, and that viability monitoring will occur for 3 years, and that any plants that need to be replaced are notified to our conservation agent.
that's the motion.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. You have it. See Christine in the Conservation Office for your paperwork. It will come.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you guys
It's
so
not what
much.
you're going to do this time of the year anyway.
I have an 8-week-old at home and a 5 and a 4-year-old. There's plenty to do.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
We have a continued hearing at 6:30. We're not there yet. If there's anybody here for 0 Maple Springs, they've asked for a continuance. McKinnon at 28 Nelson Street has asked for a continuance. Summers at 25 is continued until 3/19. Cormier at 9/15 is continued into 5/17. So we only have 2 hearings coming up, and then we can't start them until 6:30. So is there any other business you want to conduct before we have that? Review of enforcements, 35 Bay Point Drive.
So 35 Bay Point Drive, there was some filling of an adjacent wetland to the property.
Oh, when they built the houses.
It's where the golf course is.
Well,
Yeah.
Okay.
It started to spill out down into the wetlands that are nearby. We did actually send them an enforcement order via email and via certified mail, and we did get the green slip back, so we do know they have the receipt of it. They responded only once, so we haven't heard anything back from them since. We had originally wanted them to submit a notice of intent by February 28th. That hasn't happened, so what we're planning to do going forward is resending an enforcement order via email and certified mail with a new deadline of April 3rd. And if nothing happens before that deadline, then we are moving to record the enforcement on their deed and do a fine of $300 per day.
ouch. Did we discuss this at the last meeting? Did we ratify the enforcement order at the last meeting? I think we did.
I was not here for the last meeting.
I wasn't here either.
I do remember something being ratified.
But let me see. I can probably get it up on the notes.
That's February 19th. I remember this discussion. It wasn't,
Yeah, Josh may have brought it up.
I don't see it on my agenda for the 19th. February 5th. Yes, February 5th, we ratified the enforcement order, so it was done on February 5th. So we've done it, so we don't have to do it again. Thank you for keeping on top of that. All right. Anything on the continued enforcements?
So 50 Shangri-La is actually working with JC Engineering at the moment, and 37 Pine Lake has submitted a notice of intent, so you will actually be seeing them on the March 19th meeting.
Thank you. I'm going down to the, under report for land use coordinator. Do you have something from Josh?
For the bylaw revisions, he's currently working on the formatting issues of the revisions. He thinks it would be a good idea to hold a couple of public meetings, and tentatively for the May 21st hearing,
Okay.
he's thinking would probably have something passable ready.
Okay, thank you. We're down to itemized bills. At the last meeting, we authorized the use of taking of conservation trust accounts. We're here to ratify that decision with now a dollar amount for each one of our members who, a year and a half ago, put money out of their own pocket. I don't know why it is taking 18 months to get it to you, but now it's in front of us.
Some of these were over 2 years. for
Some
me.
of these are I don't want to, 2 years?
I've been on the commission for 3 years now.
With interest.
Made me feel old.
It's okay.
All right, so we have a request for Paula Jean O'Neill to be reimbursed $395 for charges that taken to take courses for the conservation program.
So moved.
I have a motion to,
Second.
and a second to use $395 from the Conservation Trust account to pay Paula Jean O'Neill. I have a motion and a second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 400. The next account, Autumn Wood, looking for $631.25 to be reimbursed from the Conservation Trust account for her expenses associated with taking training courses for conservation. I need a
I
motion.
mean, yeah, second.
I need a
Oh,
motion.
motion to approve.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained?
Aye.
We are 301. So all the paperwork has been submitted to accounting, I hope, and we can make this happen. All right.
Thank you.
We have minutes from January 15th. I had one notice on it that Autumn was not identified as a clerk, and I asked that that be done. Do you know if it was?
Yeah, I rectified it.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we have minutes from January 15th.
Yeah, I motion to approve the minutes.
I have a motion to
And a
approve the
second.
minutes, and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained, the minutes are approved, 0. All right. We're getting there. What else do you want to do before we do continued meetings? Well, I guess I'll go for the ones that will be continued. By the time I get through this list, we'll be to the 2 that are not continued. We have 19th Street continued in 5/7. We have 25 Oak Street continued until 3/19. We have a request at 28 Nilsson Street to be continued in 3/19, and I'm getting a little tired of seeing this. It's been here since December, right? So it's been around for a while. How long do we give them for their continuances? I guess that's our decision.
Yeah.
So, Kennan. Yes. Oh. Okay, the first hearing was December 4th, so yes. Okay, yes, Josh.
So you have to be
Good
sworn
evening,
in.
Madam Chair and members of the Conservation Commission. It's up to you when you want. You can tell them to come back whenever you want. So if you want to see them at your next meeting, you can tell them that.
Yeah, yes, Christine, can you send a note to the attorney of record that would like to see them at the 3/19 meeting?
Yes.
And since there was no testimony given, I didn't have to swear him in.
Got it.
Take a motion to continue 28 Nielsen Street until 3/19.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, 400, continued. We've had a request to continue Zero Maple Spring. Did they have a date for them?
They did not say a specific date. They just wanted some more time to review the peer reviewers' comments.
Yes, because we just got that March 3rd, March 4th, we got the peer review comment from Green Seal. And that's 9 pages of reading. So I'll take a motion to continue until 3:19.
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 400. 6:30, continued hearings, here we go. I have a continued hearing for David Del Grandi, 59 Agawam. Please come forward. You were with us at the last meeting, so you have been sworn in. The reason you were here is because they had not been staked. Is that right?
Correct.
Has it been staked? Has anybody gone out and looked at it?
Yes, and it has my favorite stake of all time because he drilled through the concrete so that he could put a piece of rebar in exactly the right place. I've never seen anyone go to that length to make sure it's done correctly.
All right.
So thank you for that.
So, if that's it, we've continued the hearing, we've had a discussion. Is there anything else to be said on this project? Okay,
I motion to close the hearing.
I have a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
And it's second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 400. Christine, your recommendation.
Standard order of conditions.
So moved?
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, you're done. Thank you very much for coming back.
Thank you, everybody.
And you'll
you.
get to the office for your paperwork in what, 2 weeks, 1 week?
The turnaround time's pretty quick right now, so it might even be ready by, like, beginning of next week.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
The next continue hearing is Warren Pine, 7 Knobscot Way. Please come forward. And identify yourself. Oh, I swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth on the project regarding 7 Knobscot Way. I do. Thank you. Have a seat and identify yourself.
I'm Gretchen. He's fine.
All right. I should say ditto for what we did in April 23, but tell us.
So the application is a little bit different because it went to Boston and Lakeville. But it's the same beach nourishment of the small coastal bank that is bordered on either side by rock revetments, trying to keep it natural and trying to keep the amount of erosion that the bank is continually chunks taken out of it. And there is grass and weeds on it, but that doesn't stop it. It just, after a storm, an easterly storm or a northeasterly storm, another section will be out. So what I have wanted to do is do as Lee Wisher, way back all those years ago when he came and analyzed the property, said the area is
He's a coastal geologist.
yeah, his PhD in coastal geology and
He's glacial.
sediment starved. That area is sediment starved because the entire Cremisa Point is riprocked. So it's taken a particular amount of pressure, and there's going to be more, I understand, to the north of the property. I guess 3 more walls are going in, and so it will be just the Gleason's property and our much smaller piece. So, back to Lee Wisher, he had said it makes sense because it's so sediment starved in the area from all the rock walls to beach nourish. To do beach nourishment and let that be taken away rather than more and more of the bank all the time. And, grass just doesn't cut it. I mean, we've all seen giant, banks or dunes with roots, 4-foot roots hanging down. When there's that much wave action, and there's a groin just to the east of our property where when Christine was there, she saw it because there was a little bit of wave. They were pretty small, but it was creating a swirl that comes right in from that groin directly onto our little beach.
Their jetty creates an eddy on our beach.
Yeah, the
Yes, I
groin.
mean, it just, you're sucked, it gets, whatever you put down gets sucked out.
And I understand, as Lee Wisher said, it's sacrificial, and as we've talked about in years past, it is gonna go, but it's preferable that than the bank.
Now, there is, oh, sorry, I'll go around. Autumn,
No questions, thank you.
Scott,
So in that little stretch of beach, there is some, there are some plants that are growing in it on the neighbor side. If you're facing the beach from the water on the right side, there are plants that are growing there.
On the right side, do you mean the east side? Or
Near the jetty,
I
but
didn't
the
bring,
south side or the
I didn't bring
north
my
side?
compass, but there, so there's an easement, right? There's a right-of-way that goes
Diane's
down the
house.
middle?
Okay.
Yeah.
sorry.
Right.
I know the owner, that's right.
Okay. So there are plants that are growing in the beach on that side.
there's a few sparkles of seagrass growing
Or
there,
whatever
which
type
get
of weed that is.
eroded away every winter. We've been there 35 years. We see what happens. We know Diane's illegal jetty has created the erosion and eddy. I'm sorry. But we're just trying to keep it natural. We're trying to keep it safe and natural. That's all we're trying to do.
There is a tiny bit of that left, but.
Yeah, I was there
every year-
today.
Every year
Yeah.
it is less and less.
So, yeah, you're in a pickle where you're between two armored coastal banks.
Yeah.
So,
Revetments, not coastal banks.
Right.
well, they would have been coastal banks if they hadn't been armored.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah, so you're right, you're going to
Walls,
see, yeah, and
stony seawalls.
And the wall, and this, by the way, the seawalls that are further up, the ones that are staked out right now, they won't be as big of an issue because they're not right on the area where the waves break, unless there's a storm. So they're set back. So, if you didn't have any armoring along,
You mean the new ones that are
the new ones that are
proposed?
proposed, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so they won't be as big of an issue. Your issue is that the armoring is right up to the wave break on both sides of that beach. And so you're going to get constant scouring in there. And so I have a few questions. One, you've asked for 60 yards. Can you tell us about why 60 yards?
We have been doing, it was 12
It was 12 last time.
2 years ago. Last year I didn't do it because of a health thing. And
So we did notice after the 12.
Yep.
well, now we're talking about doing that right-of-way that you referenced, which, with the 12, my goal has always been to, leave as much on the bank and to build that out and to build the beach and, let that be taken. And then, to cover up the bank so that when the bigger waves do come, there's not as much damage to the bank, or hopefully no damage eventually, if that ever is possible.
We have noticed over the
Answer
last time we did it, less erosion and more
to the
sand,
bank. Yeah.
less erosion to the bank and more of a sand buildup, if you will.
But so the 20 yards is because we're going
60.
60 yards.
60, well, over 3 years. So that'd be 20 a year.
I don't think there's anything that's talked about a timing for this. It just says 60 yards.
That's what I was told to put when I met with Josh Faraday.
Because there's nothing in here that puts a time frame on the 60.
Let me double check, 'cause I know I'd seen over a 3-year span, they were proposing to do 20 cubic yards every year.
Okay, I did not print out the total notice of intent. I only printed out,
I have it here.
So my question is, well, I have a number of additional questions. I just need clarification on this. So that beach area, do you own the entire beach area?
Yeah.
And then the right-of-way then comes down through
We own up to half.
up to half, not the whole beach area?
No, the right-of-way or the paper street. I'm
The
not
paper
sure
street.
what they're currently being termed, but the beach.
Sir, can you make sure you're speaking into a microphone, please?
I'm not sure your question, where you're going.
Well, if the beach, you might have to put the camera on me, I don't know. If the beach is like this, you've got rock armoring on this side and rock armoring on that side, and the right-of-way comes down in the middle? Is that
No,
right?
it doesn't come down the middle. The right-of-way comes down the north side of it, or if you're facing the water, the left side of it.
Okay.
Our beach is on the right side, or east side, and that is the side that ties in with Diane's property.
Okay, so,
There is a right-of-way.
The right-of-way is on the left.
On the
And so
left.
Okay.
I understand that, that half of the right-of-way would be Heather Groves, or 9 Knobsco, or 7 Knobsco. I guess Diane would be 5, but, so Heather's would not be touched. That's, not what we're,
yeah, so how do you keep this 20 or 60, let's say 20 yards, how do you keep the 20 yards of sand on your property?
We wheelbarrow it and manually dump it.
no, I can't do that again.
well, the last time it was rubber-tired vehicle.
Yes.
I guess that's a wheelbarrow,
Well, there are rubber-tired,
but that's what was on the last.
yeah. No, what I mean is after it's put on, that's going to build, 20 yards is a lot of sand. That's going to build it up quite a bit. How do you keep it from going into the right-of-way and then onto your neighbor's property?
Not going over there?
There's a
Because
jetty.
there's 2 stone groins, or, stone jetties going out into the water on either side of the property, on the south side or southeast side, and then the northeast side. And there's also like an erosive gully.
Right, so you-
Going down.
So you own right up to the other groin?
No.
Again, that's part of the paper street. There's an erosive groin, paper street, if you will. We supposedly own half, the neighbor owns half. There's a groin that goes down where water runoff from the road goes down. We're hoping to re-nourish that because the water erosion from the road, since the town filled the road, it's created more erosion on that area, so we're hoping to fill that up as well. It won't touch the neighbor's property because she has a stone jetty. It won't touch the Blondins' property because she has a stone jetty. We're just hoping to nourish that area as naturally as possible, matching each grain of sand the way we did it before, delivering it as naturally as we can, just to preserve what we have without creating a rock
Yeah,
manufactured.
I just don't understand how you're going to keep the sand, 20 yards of sand on your side of the line.
In the past.
So do you have something written from your neighbor saying it's okay to nourish her part of the beach?
It doesn't nourish her part of the beach. I've never seen sand washed that way. It washes out.
You can't, there's a jetty there.
So you put it on your property and it washes where it washes.
Yeah, exactly. The ocean takes it where it takes it.
Takes
and
it out.
preserves our property and increases the
But
sand embankment and-
it's not a high wind area, as Christine and I discussed. Like, you would expect that you see in open beaches or where light sand accumulates, or very fine particle sand accumulates.
All right, so my final,
That never happens
my
there.
final question then, and you can hold me to that, Madam Chair, is there is some vegetation on that beach. I assume it's not on your property, it's on your neighbor's property. The
If you're
vegetation we talked about at the
talking
very,
on the north side.
On the north
or
side.
left side facing the water.
Yeah.
Then that used to be a lot bigger. Hers is
Okay.
starting to go.
right, but if that becomes then covered by your sand,
To cover that, that's her property.
okay.
Anything else? Autumn, did I ask you?
You did. No questions, thank you. You didn't get them.
What?
You didn't get the guys on the end.
Kwame?
So I'm sorry to bring this up. Okay, sorry about my ignorance, but do you think because of the jetty that you mentioned is the root of evil? Do you think it's the root of evil because you're constantly nourishing the beach, which could be, maybe 10 years instead of like every 5 years? Or I don't know how many times you have to nourish the beach.
Every year.
Okay, so it's every year.
I don't know anything, but
I'm sorry, I didn't want to ask that. It doesn't, but do you think, yes or no? I mean, do you think, because jetties to me is like, sometimes it's helpful, sometimes it's not. And do you think the jetty that you were talking about is the root of evil?
I don't know personally, but I've been told that it is. Lee Wisher, the coastal geologist, PhD, said it is a significant
Thank you.
contributor.
Okay, Joe?
No questions for me.
The, say, 20 yards a year for 3 years, high tide up or low
Yeah.
tide? Oh,
Yeah, high
just
tide
above
up.
high tide.
Yep.
You just replenish what's there. So you'll still have all that rocky stuff at low tide, no matter if you put there, it's gonna wash away in one high tide anyway. But I have to admit, the bank looks better than what it did when I took pictures in April
Yeah.
of '23. This is what it looked like in April '23, and it doesn't, I think it's come a long way.
We did that visit together.
Yes, we did, yes. Oh. I just want to show them that was what was there when we first approved the 12 yards then. So Christine, your recommendations, your comments, please.
So I do want to clarify, when I was there, the wind was coming towards the direction of this jetty over here.
Yep.
So on this side, you more than likely will have accretion of sand on this side, which is then gonna cause downdrift erosion on this side. And then you are gonna have that happen if that gets in here as well. So that would explain why this section here is eroding like that. And this is a common thing that happens with a lot of coastal engineering structures. You do see it in bigger beaches that are more recreational, usually in different states. Just wanted to clarify that. But I don't have any questions about this. I was out there with them not that long ago, and I know we did speak a little bit about it looks like snow fencing, but it's the fencing that helps to like build a coastal dune. So it will accrete sand. It could be a potential way to detract from passing over into the neighbor's yard, but it's a natural process that the water's gonna take that sand, so it's kind of difficult to determine what's gonna happen there. But just an idea.
Just on a note, we've had neighbors just around the corner. They've done so much planting and so much.
The one on the north side.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
they
gonna
came
be-
before us for a major planting and restoration of their removal and plantings, yep.
All wiped out.
Then you've got the other houses down that are putting in a seawall, that continuous seawall, and then you go into Gleason's, of which a lot of that will now come before the town for purchasing with the community preservation funds. Okay. Anybody online? John? Anybody in the audience would like to speak to this project? Okay.
They're in, they just have to unmute.
All right, we'll wait for, oh, Diane.
Yes, hello.
Hello. Please state your name for the record.
Diane Blondin.
Thank you. Your comments, please.
Okay, that 40-foot right-of-way is for the subdivision. It's not a public right-of-way. The abutter notification I received was a determination of applicability, which called for the 12 yards of sand like the previous two projects. I was never notified that this was a notice of intent proposing 60 yards. My neighbors received the same notice as me. I have trouble understanding how 60 yards of sand can be placed inland of mean high tide but below the bank and not on existing vegetation.
I think they're, Diane, I think they're planning to do 20 a year for 3 years.
Okay, so that's big up from 12 to 20.
Oh, I don't know.
Also, I'd like to say that sand from the previous two projects shifted with every tide, as you've mentioned, and washed out annually by the storms. Beach nourishment without any erosion controls, coconut fiber, dune plantings, or seawall extending from my wall on lot 204 to lot 206 provides no stabilization of the bank, which continues to erode. So those are my questions, my concerns. And we do sometimes have very strong east winds that do smack up against that bank.
Okay. Now, Diane's raised the question, was this notice sent out as an RDA or as a notice of intent? Do we know what type of paperwork was sent out to the neighbors?
We have a certified
Yeah, but what did the letter say?
It says certified sender, let me,
That's not what they need.
well,
No, we
I
wanted to
don't
know what
it
they
says.
received, what exactly.
Exactly, I thought it might say
Exactly what
here.
Josh gave me. Josh helped me fill out the paperwork
Okay.
this year.
Christine, any idea what that is?
I'm trying to see if it's uploaded online, but I was not part of that, so I'm not 100% sure what paper Josh gave them.
So would it
I
made,
have it right here in front of me if you want to put your camera on it.
how do we get your, you're gonna hold it? Right now, all we see is your name, we don't see an image.
I don't think I can control that, can I?
Wait a second, Diane, we're working on it.
Well, my two choices are join as panelist or stay as attendee. Where do you want me?
Join as panelist.
Okay. All right, start video. Okay, hold on.
Is there anything online that talks about?
I was looking, I didn't see anything.
My links didn't work this time. I don't know what was different about this form.
Diane, can you shift the paper a little more centered to screen?
Yep.
RDA.
So it was sent out as an RDA, but it's listed as a notice of intent. Does that make a difference? From Diane's point of view, would it be any different if it had said a butter notified for an NOI?
You have to notify the butters within 100 feet with both RDAs and NOIs. I wanted to see a little bit closer on that, because if the cubic yards say 12, that would be an issue.
Does it,
That says
Diane, does
12,
it have the
yes.
size of the request down there?
Let's see if I can get it.
All we see is you.
Can you see that?
No, keep going more toward your left hand. A little more.
Says 12.
It does say
And
12.
it says 12 yards, which to me is a duplicate of what they gave out in 23.
Yes.
So that is a concern, is that the notice went out as an RDA with 12 yards, but the request is being 60 yards, 20 a year for 3 years.
That must have been my mistake. I used the wrong form.
I think you used an old one.
Yeah.
I would like to see the correct notification to the abutters. So I'm going to ask for a continuance to allow you to notify the abutters of the real request for notice of intent with the actual amount that you want to refurbish the beach with at 20 yards for 3 years. We're going to have that as a correct notification to the abutters before we can continue on this.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes, wait a minute. Diane, were you done?
Yes, thank you.
I would also like to see the property line staked.
All right. We don't normally do that.
Well, it's unclear where it is, and, I mean, if the abutter has no objection, then I have no objection either, but if the abutter has an objection,
Well, the butter would be not Diane, but the other side.
The other side.
yeah, then how would we know?
It's Diane's jetty that is on our beach and creating this problem, and it's ironic that she's the one doing
Okay,
this. So
yep.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I do have 2 more individuals that would like to speak,
Okay,
but also because it was notified, that's up to you.
I'll hear them. Since they've taken the time to come and listen to us, I'll listen to them, but we will be continuing for the correct notification. David, you're up. Identify yourself, please.
Yes, this is David for Heather Grove, and Heather Grove will speak.
Hi there, this is Heather Grove, it's 9 Knapska Way. I just want to make sure that the dune grass that is existent does not get covered up, because I think the dune grass has protected, I'll call it, that side of my property.
Okay, you're the owner on the north side, and Diane was the owner on the south side.
Correct.
Okay. All right, you just want to make sure the vegetation is not covered with the grass.
With the sand?
Sand.
With the sand, correct.
Try again. The vegetation is not covered with the sand.
Yes.
Yes.
I think the vegetation on that side has protected the property on that corner.
Okay, I will make that note, so we will include it as an order of conditions. Now, do you want your property line staked, or are you comfortable with the sand being placed like it has in the past?
I think there are questions in regards to the right-of-way that's in between. I think that Warren has made an assumption he owns half of it. I don't know that's a true statement. You know,
Well-
obviously, he nor I pay taxes on that right-of-way.
Well, that's, okay, so if he was to put some nourishment in that right-of-way, it would not be, you would not be concerned as long as he does not cover vegetation?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments?
And with the assumption that you tell me that, I have a little concern that if you add, I'll say 60 yards of sand, but now it seems to be 20 per year, that it doesn't raise the table. I don't want the water table to be higher to come onto my property easier. I've had, I think, some folks say that that's not gonna happen, and as long as that's an assurance.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Anybody else online?
I do have one more. They're just labeled as iPhone.
I'm sorry?
They're just labeled as iPhone.
Okay.
Okay. Please
you hear me?
identify yourself. iPhone 125, please identify yourself.
This is Paula Jean, and I came on when Scott started asking about the sand.
Okay,
So I just wanted you to know I'm here.
all
The
right,
power
I'll
just
make a
came back
note. You
on.
joined us at 7 o'clock.
That's right. The power's been out here and no internet and no Zoom. Just came back on.
Huh. That's sorry about that power, but must have been too much wind.
The palm trees are going crazy. Yep.
Now, Paula Jean, do you have any comments or questions on this project?
No, I didn't, other than 60 yards of sand seemed like a huge amount of sand. And if I were in the room, I was going to ask where they get the sand, if that's at all relevant. I just was curious.
Yes, it is relevant. They have to fill it with the light sand, and they have to have it tested, and they have to make sure they get it from the right place, and that's the standard order of conditions with beach nourishment. Right, Christine?
Okay.
Yeah. But it's going to be...
That's what I thought. I just was going to make sure.
Yeah, 20 yards, which is more than they've had in the past, for 3 years. And I'm sure it will be washed away every year. But
Yeah. Okay.
anything else?
Thank you.
Thank
No.
you. So we are going to continue it for the correct notification of the abutters. And I'm taking, I have a motion, it's going to, what, 2 weeks?
Yeah, the 19th.
Then, so 3/19, I'll take a motion to continue in 3/19.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained, it's
Aye.
500, thank you. It will be continued, you'll have to work with, make sure you give us the right notification to the abutters.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
stop down
And
there and
it
get
doesn't have to go in the paper, because we're continuing it. We just have to get the right notification to the abutters.
The right paperwork, the right certified mail again.
Yes, you know who to send it to, just make sure it says notice of intent, and talk about the 60 yards being over 3 years. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, I think, anything else on this agenda we haven't covered? I think that was done. Oh, Paula Jean, we approve your payment.
Wow, thank you.
Anything else?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
circling back, for Christine, it's Chapter 131, Section 40 of the General Laws of Commonwealth of Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, and it's actually $25,000. And you'll see in there, when there's a transfer of property, that whoever violates any provision of this section shall be fined, punished by a fine
Thank
of
you very much. Have a good evening.
not more than $25,000 or by imprisonment of not more than 2 years, or both such fine and imprisonment. Shall be subjected to a civil penalty not to exceed $25,000 for each violation. That's right there in, like I say, Chapter 131, Section 40.
So that person who just bought this land, his realtor did not do due diligence?
That's how I read it.
Wow.
I'm not an attorney, and our attorney's not here, so
None of this is deed restricted, right? It's just fully with the town. If you have an open COC on a property, you can still transfer it.
I don't know.
Is there any way we could make a change to that?
this is state law. Any person who purchases, inherits, or otherwise acquires real estate upon which work has been done in violation of the provisions of this section, or in violation of any order issued under this section, shall forthwith comply with any such order, or restore such real estate to its condition prior to any such violation. And it goes on to, you have 3 years to do it, and if you don't do it within 3 years, then you're subject to the 2 years imprisonment or $25,000 fine, or both.
And we just approved them to redo the whole banking.
Yeah.
And what was the COC for? It was to,
Order of conditions,
sorry, yeah, the order of
the
conditions.
one we just,
It wasn't this one, it was the one on Jefferson, right? With the,
Yes.
okay, with the plantings?
yeah. And we've just given him a new order of conditions for planting that.
So just pretend I didn't find this in the
No.
general laws of
No,
Commonwealth of
I just don't-
Massachusetts.
I don't,
Do what you said on TV.
They have a year and a half to comply. But it's worthwhile to keep in mind that if one of these things has gone on for 3 years,
And it's one of those things that if I didn't have the history, we wouldn't know it.
that's right.
And that's why I also bring up the point, if it was deed restricted, the property, unless if it was a cash sale, there could be never a transfer of property. Any mortgage lending company wouldn't be able to give that loan out until that order of conditions was complied with.
Yeah, there are a lot of holes. So I know of properties in Wareham where they've got, you know, a building permit, but they're definitely in areas under our jurisdiction, and didn't come through us. So there are definitely areas where we need to think about closing the loops on some of these things.
Christine, will you and Josh talk to Mr. Bowen regarding this?
Yes.
Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, did you get the citation? Chapter 131, Section 40
Yeah,
of the
I have-
General Laws, Wetlands Protection Act.
Yeah, I have the page up.
She has it up.
Okay.
Okay? Anything? Gentlemen, what can we do for you? You've been here through the whole thing.
Yeah, it's interesting. Actually, I just wanted to say, Christine, I'm heading to Nashville, so I won't be around for a couple of weeks, so just don't worry about when I
Oh.
get here. I get there.
That's okay. It'll be in the office, so.
You want to listen or no?
We're about to, I think we're about to, anything else? If not,
Yeah, there,
oh, sorry, Christine, what?
there is one more thing. Tomorrow, March 6th, Josh is actually doing a solar and ADU discussion at, oh my gosh, let me find it. There's an open meeting here in this room, 520, for solar announcement and ADUs from 12 to 2 tomorrow.
Okay,
Open, so it won't be on, streaming online.
I don't think so.
No Wareham TV, right?
Don't think so. But Josh will be here
so regarding solar panels,
regarding solar and ADUs.
oh, ADUs, wait a minute. Housing, the accessory housing dwelling,
Accessory units.
Yes,
Special
the accessory dwelling units.
accessory dwelling units. These acronyms, takes a while to get them straight. If not, are we done?
I'm going to send these paragraphs to you, Sandy, and then to Josh and Christine from the...
Okay.
Does anyone else want it?
I will as well.
Okay,
You might as well just put it out
You
in
might
the
as well
email.
put them out to Conservation Commission.
okay.
Let us all have it, and Mr. Josh and Christine will talk to Mr. Bowen regarding it. Because I believe, anyway, anything else? All done?
I motion to adjourn at 7:08 PM.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500, I heard your aye.
Excellent.
Take care.
There we go.